Have you ever stopped to wonder who's actually running the show inside your head? I mean, we all just kind of go about our days assuming our conscious minds are, firmly in the driver's seat. But the truth, it's far more mysterious and, honestly, a whole lot more fascinating. In this explainer, we're diving into the hidden architect of your biology. We're going to uncover the story of an entity so powerful, so deeply embedded in your existence that it literally dictates the shape, the function, and the very survival of your body. So let's jump right in and meet the mastermind within.
To really wrap our heads around this, I want you to imagine this hidden mastermind actually speaking directly to you. Picture it saying, "You might have never even heard my name, and you certainly don't really know me, but I know you better than you know yourself." Why? Because everything you are, every single biological reality of your existence, is entirely because of me. It's a pretty bold claim, right? But as we're about to see, it's an absolute biological fact.
Section 1. The Hidden Mastermind.
Okay, let's just look at the sheer scale of what this entity is responsible for. From the monumental, exhausting task of, say, cutting through mountains, down to the simplest, most delicate act of blinking your eyes, or even having vivid dreams while you sleep, this hidden entity plays the foundational role. But here is the truly shocking part: its physical reality. You'd probably expect something this powerful to be some massive, dominant organ, right? No way. This gland is a soft pink. It's literally the size of a single pea, and incredibly, it's made up of 85% water. Just a tiny, watery drop inside your head.
And that perfectly highlights the wild contrast between its size and its power. We're talking about the pituitary gland. Outside of the brain itself, absolutely no other organ or gland can rival its power, its mystery, or its incredible complexity. It weighs a mere 1/4 of an ounce. I mean, really think about that for a second. And it sits in the most unassuming spot, just hanging quietly on a tiny berry-like branch right below your hypothalamus. Yet, from that tiny little perch, it holds the absolute weight of your body's entire empire.
So let's do a quick thought experiment. What if this pea-sized gland just stopped working, and we had to replace it using human engineering? To replicate the flawless, continuous maintenance it does for your body, you would literally need acres and acres of land. You'd have to build state-of-the-art modern laboratories spanning that entire area. You'd need to hire a massive team of the world's absolute top-tier medical and chemical experts, working around the clock, 24/7. Plus an endless, bottomless supply of complex chemicals and medicines. And you know what? Even with all of those massive, insanely expensive resources constantly at work, we humans still couldn't replicate the flawless, entirely free service that this tiny drop of water provides to you every single second of your life.
Section 2. The body's political system.
To govern such a massive biological empire, the body relies on a brilliant internal government. The crucial thing here is understanding the chain of command. Think of the pituitary gland as the president of your body's republic. It holds the ultimate constitutional title. It's the absolute head of state. But just like in a parliamentary democracy, while the president holds the highest office, the actual operational power and day-to-day decision-making, that usually lies with the prime minister. In your body, the prime minister is the hypothalamus. So the pituitary gland acts upon the direct advice and supreme orders of its prime minister, the hypothalamus.
So how exactly does this biological president rule? Well, through hormones. Hormones are essentially chemical ordinances or laws. Acting on the advice of the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland drafts these incredibly specific chemical laws and releases them straight into your bloodstream. These ordinances then travel throughout the vast network of your body, instantly activating, controlling, and regulating every other system and gland, just to make sure the empire keeps functioning smoothly.
Section 3. Miracles and Biological Disasters.
Now, this is where the explainer takes a slightly terrifying turn, because these chemical ordinances hold absolute, almost godlike power over your physical form. The extremes of what they can actually do are just staggering. If it wanted to, or if it malfunctioned, this tiny drop of water could issue an ordinance to shrink a perfectly normal human down into a 1.5-foot dwarf. Or, on the flip side, it could release a different chemical law that forces your bones to endlessly expand, growing you into a towering 9-foot giant. It even has the terrifying capacity to completely reverse your biological clock, taking the reproductive and physical state of a mature adult and regressing it all the way back to a 5-year-old child. Or it could do the exact opposite, violently accelerating the aging process so a young child suddenly begins to look like a 70-year-old. The sheer power required to instantly mutate the human body like this, it's entirely housed inside that tiny pink pea in your skull.
But hey, don't panic just yet. Fortunately, these drastic biological disasters are incredibly rare. The pituitary gland doesn't just go rogue. It only executes these extreme measures if it receives highly specific, supreme orders, transmitted directly down from the hypothalamus. In the vast majority of cases, the ordinances it issues are designed purely to keep you normal, healthy, happy, and incredibly safe from the countless diseases that are constantly threatening your body's borders.
Section 4. The spark of life.
Beyond just maintaining our daily health, we really have to look at the profound role this gland plays at the very dawn of our existence. Your actual entry into this world, it would have been completely impossible without the direct intervention of this gland. It produces a highly specific miracle hormone called oxytocin. This hormone is solely responsible for creating the intense, rhythmic muscle contractions in a mother's womb. It's the chemical spark that literally pulls a child out from the dark, layered depths of the womb and thrusts them right into the light and noise of the world.
And the stakes for this specific chemical ordinance couldn't possibly be higher. As the source material grimly notes, without this hormone, the mother's womb could become the baby's grave. Before the advent of modern surgical interventions, if the pituitary gland failed to release this exact chemical at the exact right moment, natural childbirth was biologically impossible. It is literally the ultimate gatekeeper of human life.
Section 5. The ultimate chemical plant.
So when we step back and look at everything we've covered, a really clear picture emerges of this gland's true identity. In biology, it is universally known as the master gland. And it absolutely earned this prestigious title because it acts as the supreme head of your body's chemical department. Every other gland in your body, all the ones releasing chemicals directly into your systems, they operate strictly under the jurisdiction of the pituitary gland. It flawlessly and continuously monitors all of their activities. It's checking second by second if the other glands are producing exactly the right amount of chemicals. Even the absolute slightest imbalance, just a microscopic drop or spike, could plunge the human body into fatal danger. But the master gland, it balances it all out.
And that brilliantly illustrates why it is, without a doubt, the most complex and comprehensive chemical plant on Earth. Honestly, no sprawling, multi-billion-dollar industrial facility designed by humans even comes close to the silent, automated, invisible perfection of this pea-sized miracle operating inside your head right this very second. Which brings us to a deeply fascinating philosophical realization drawn from our source material. You know, we walk around thinking we own and control our bodies, but the truth is, humans only possess highly limited autonomy. We're given control over our outer limbs, our temporary surface-level movements. But the truly vital, deeply complex, life-sustaining systems, those are completely restricted from our conscious control. The source material argues that the Creator directly manages these vital systems to protect us from our own ignorance and, frankly, our own mistakes.
Just look at this profound quote from the text. Flaws usually occur in the parts we control, but the cures come from the mysterious systems perfectly managed by the Creator. When you really think about it, the injuries, the bad diets, the physical harms we suffer, they're almost always a result of the limbs and choices we control. But the healing, that incredibly complex chemical balancing act that saves our lives, fights off infections, and repairs our tissue, that entirely comes from mysterious, automated systems like the pituitary gland, systems we have absolutely zero conscious say over.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. If a tiny drop of water hanging on a microscopic branch deep inside your skull holds the absolute power to dictate your growth, your aging, your reproduction, and your very survival, how much of you is truly in your control? It's a pretty humbling reality, one that forces us to stand in absolute awe of our own biology and the flawless, unseen design that allows us to live, breathe, and experience this world every single day.